Gosh, I mean, how sad, and just your personal thoughts on why we're so particularly toxic in the U.S.
I just did a TV piece because California banned red dye. So bravo, California there. That's one positive there. But that's been outlawed in Europe for many, many years. If you look at things that are in most cereals, Gatorade, they're all banned in Europe. Why are they banned? Because of the chemicals, most of the natural flavors. And glyphosate has been banned for many, many years. Glyphosate is the chemical that's sprayed on basically all of our food supply in the US. It's a chemical that opens up our gut barrier and creates massive leaky gut. That's why everyone's running from different foods, including beyond gluten. They're running now from plant toxins that are, really actually meant to be healthy. Things like oxalates, phytates, lectins. These are things that people used to not react to, but in this country are reacting to. In Europe, they're not yet, unless they start introducing these chemicals, which hopefully they don't. But the bottom line is that one chemical is outlawed there. Other chemicals are sprayed far less, like 2,4-D. These pesticides, they're not being sprayed there. And even the chemicals that they're using or allow in personal care products that are obesogens are not allowed there versus here. Forever chemicals. Joy, did you see the movie Dark Waters?
No.
Most people haven't, unfortunately, but it just came out recently. It blows the lid off of what happened from two companies, 3M and DuPont. Back in as early as the 1950s, they knew that this chemical, so it's basically the chemical used in flame retardants, non-stick pans, water resistant things. This chemical is just ubiquitous in the way we live our lives. It's in 10,000 products in the United States. Still, the fact is back then they knew that it caused birth defects, thyroid cancer, diabetes, metabolic problems, meaning hormone problems, and horrific birth defects. They knew that then. They went on to make billions, not millions, billions from this chemical, until finally the lawsuits came about in 2019. Now, billions of dollars have been awarded for the damaging effects of these chemicals. How many people actually know? And they're still using them here. So watch the movie. This one attorney dedicated his whole life to exposing this. So these chemicals are basically, they bioaccumulate. They're called forever chemicals because they stay in the environment forever unless you specifically try to remove them, and they stay in us. And virtually every living thing on the planet has these chemicals, but here in the United States, we enjoy more of them. But they do drive obesity. They do drive hormone problems. And here we are, a country that takes more hormones than any country in the world because we look at low hormone levels as a pathology. But really, as you age, hormones should go lower. However, it isn't the hormone levels as much as it is the cell's ability to hear the hormone. On every cell, you have hormone receptors. And these receptors are what hormones have to attach to get in the cell or their message in the cell. And when that doesn't happen, we don't feel well despite our blood levels of hormones. Meaning, I went and got $5,000 worth of blood work, money I didn't have then, and my hormone levels were normal, even my thyroid levels, even though my hair was thinning, even though I was getting skinny fat, and I had all thyroid symptoms. Now, maybe in 10 years, they would have gone, or maybe 5 years, your hormone levels are finally off. What would they do? They would give me thyroid hormone. Now, maybe it would make me feel better a little bit, right? But typically not, because it doesn't matter if we improve our blood levels of the hormones. It's what is getting in the cell. And these receptors on our cells, toxins blunt those receptors. They cause inflammation of the cell. So the problem isn't hormone levels as it is as much as us not hearing the hormones at the cell. It's called hormone resistance. You're familiar with it, not you, but your listeners, because think of insulin resistance. That's called type 2 diabetes. That means the cell can't hear insulin despite having plenty of insulin, oftentimes too much, because the body's trying to produce more. But the same thing's happening with estrogen. The same thing's happening with testosterone. The same thing's happening with hormones that we need to stay lean, have normal energy, normal brain. The cells are inflamed. So that slide, what in the world is going on? These toxins are driving an epidemic of cellular inflammation. This is why we don't feel well. You can change your diet, and people 20 years ago would lose weight. Today, not so easy. People used to feel well if they made dietary changes. Today, not so simple, because our cells are inflamed, because we're exposed to a certain level of these neurotoxins that are causing the hormone disruption and the gut disruption.
Yeah, that's such an important point. Maybe a lot of people are barking on the wrong trees, even working with holistic practitioners, that they think they're getting something that's really going to make fundamental changes,
Yes.
but then they're just going to get frustrated.